It's daunting for sure, the decisions that you have to make.
A summer of social distancing, now giving way to a fall of uncertainty. Parents deciding whether to send their kids back to school during the pandemic. We're answering all of your questions tonight. Plus, the problems with homeschooling, low-income families with no resources or internet access, the local nonprofit stepping in to help, and knowing your rights.
If kids can't go back to school, parents can't go back to work full-time.
School versus work, the language in the law that protects you from having to choose. And covering up in the classroom, a local doctor shares tips for preparing children to wear masks in school, what you can do to make things easier. Good evening, and thanks for being with us tonight for our Safely Back to School special. I'm James Tully.
And I'm Dee O'Reilly, anchoring from home. In fact, many of us have been staying home during the coronavirus pandemic, and that pattern will continue even through the beginning of the school year. And because of this, there's been a big boom in e-learning.
There certainly has been, Dia. We here at ABC Action News are committed to preparing you for what to expect. Here's reporter Lauren Rosella showing us an example of what a remote school day will look like.
When Janet Rinaldi's large family was thrust into e-learning, it was far from easy.
The end of the school year last year was chaotic and crazy.
All of them packed in the house in quarantine trying to complete assignments.
Especially my daughter with her IEP, she struggles.
But school districts across the country are now promising families like Janet's major improvements to remote learning for the upcoming year.
In the new e-learning model, students will follow a regular school schedule where daily attendance and participation is required. E-learning will include live instruction by teachers during the scheduled times, much like a regular school day.
Here is one district's e-learning schedule for a kindergartner. There is scheduled group time, and you'll also see where you're on Zoom with a live teacher. And just look at how that compares to a high schooler. They start with an intro from a live teacher, but then can transition into more independent work. Online learning platforms like Canvas K-12 are adjusting too.
We've added some, celebration features that give students kudos for turning in assignments. Those little things really make a difference when we're looking to keep younger learners engaged.
Janet and her family are nervous about e-learning again.
Every child will have to have their own quiet place to be on school. And then my husband and I are both working from home right now, so we need to fulfill our obligations too.
But they say for them, this still feels like the safest option as COVID-19 spreads. Keep in mind, not every class is conducive to e-learning, so make sure to check with your district. And if your student has an IEP or a special need, also make sure to call your school or your district directly to see about making accommodations. In Tampa, I'm Lauren Rosella, ABC Action News.
Well, many districts this year have also decided to push back their first day of school or completely restructure their teaching plans for the beginning of the year. We've been keeping tabs on all the changes that are constantly coming in, and we have a full list for you on our website. And there you will also be able to find a link to each district's reopening plan. Just go to abcactionnews.com/school.
And parents all over the country have really been struggling to decide if they should send their kids back to school during the pandemic. It is daunting for sure, but experts say it's all about being in the know. MIT has created the COVID-19 projection machine. It gives parents an interactive map to work with. As you scroll over each state, you'll see current case numbers.
That school system is going to have to figure out if there's a trigger point there where they call a timeout and everybody stays home and the learning becomes virtual.
Experts also say keep an eye on the COVID positivity rate. That's something that we've been following very closely and reporting updates on daily here on air and online at abcactionnews.com.
And on the topic of virtual learning, there is one option that parents may never have heard of. It's called the Florida Virtual School. It's an online platform for students, kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. The system offers flexible options for students as they learn, and they can learn as they please, or they can stay close to a normal school schedule. Each student gets a teacher who helps them navigate the entire school year.
All of our courses are online. You're able to access them 24/7. So it really does give students and families options that work around their schedule.
Full-time enrollment for the Florida Virtual School has already closed. However, the Flex program is open year-round, which means if you choose brick and mortar or county virtual now and decide halfway through the semester it's not working, you still have an option to make a switch.
And we're getting a new look at the steps one local college is taking to make sure that students are safe on campus. If you visit Pasco Hernando State College, you'll see more reminders about social distancing and also fewer chairs in high-trafficked areas.
A significant reduction in spacing. And we've done that throughout the entire campus too. So in all of our lobby areas where we could not actually physically remove the chair, signage on the chair saying, please don't sit here.
Despite online courses taking the reins, we're told the State College didn't lose any students during the summer session. And while some schools are going virtual, others are just going outside. Eckerd College in St. Pete has decided to open its doors so students can be socially distant with some fresh air. Nearly 85% of the teachers are on board, and there are more than 50 areas on campus with shade where students can spread out. Masks are still required outdoors unless students can spread out 12 feet apart. Well, many parents are choosing to keep their kids at home this year, but what if you just don't have a way to connect to the internet?
It's a question, unfortunately, it's being asked in many places. Our Michael Paluska shows us how one nonprofit is going above and beyond to ease the transition to remote learning and connect hundreds of families with free Wi-Fi.
Waimama is an extremely rural area, but this is the most densely populated part of this entire city. That's why the Enterprising Latinas nonprofit is trying to reach everyone with Wi-Fi that they can. High above these homes, an invisible signal is giving 450 families free Wi-Fi. Families that average $14,000 a year in median income per capita, 28% on the poverty line.
When you don't have the resources to make ends meet, you live a very stressed life.
Santos Morales is the director of economic prosperity at Enterprising Latinas. The nonprofit spent $60,000 to install the equipment.
So this is sort of like the second phase.
Strategically placed and triangulated to cover 3 low-income areas near Reddick Elementary School.
Here's an opportunity for you not to worry about this, so that your children can focus on school, so that you can focus on helping your children do school and not worry about that bill every month.
And you think about 450 families that'll get free Wi-Fi. This is just one Waimama family that'll be using it, but there are 3 kids in this home that'll be doing virtual learning. And then with the free Waimama Connects, they're going to save $80 a month.
The rent I can pay, I can buy more food for the girl because the girl stay home.
Rosangela Gonzalez says virtual school with 3 other kids on the internet was so slow it impacted her oldest daughter's learning.
Yo tengo una condición en mis oídos.
Nadiuska Rodriguez is hearing impaired. That, coupled with a language barrier and slow internet connection, made it nearly impossible to communicate by reading lips.
La boca, no? Look at their mouth to see what people are saying?
Yeah.
Can't see mine right now.
Laughs of relief knowing the video feed will keep the high schooler from falling behind.
Keep doing something I want to do in my future.
We wanted to ensure that children in Waimama have the same opportunity to succeed, that they're not staying behind, that they have access to the internet.
But the digital divide among school-age children is a nationwide problem. An estimated 7 million students lived in households without internet service in 2017. Another digital homework gap, access to devices. 1 in 4 teens in homes making less than $30K a year didn't have a device such as a tablet or computer to even get on the internet. The pandemic making things even worse. Hillsborough County Schools giving out nearly 40,000 devices to students and more than 1,500 hotspots.
So once they see a student is struggling, just reach out to the teacher before they get too far behind so nobody gets overwhelmed.
Private tutor Amy Harris says once those obstacles are overcome, parents have to be teachers.
Making a student feel as though they're in a classroom.
Yes, so keeping that little bit of formality by sitting at the desk, by following a schedule, and by helping them stay extremely organized, I think that'll help it feel more like being in a classroom.
Yeah, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Go to the army.
When school starts, Nadiuska is prepared. Waimama Connects hopes their story will be a model for others to blanket Wi-Fi in their communities with families in need.
My dream will be that we have a network, a mesh network through the entire village of Waimama.
In Waimama, Michael Paluska, ABC Action News.
Thank you, Michael. Managing stress still ahead as we safely get you back to school. The advice from a local doctor about how you can help guide your child through the anxiety often brushed off as first-day jitters. Plus this.
It's more than being stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's just being in a hard place constantly and not even having a light at the end of the tunnel.
So much uncertainty surrounding schools right now, and on top of that, parents are trying to work. We're helping you know your rights. Next.